Dieter Dengler had dreamed of becoming a pilot since childhood. He first saw a pilot during World War II. His small town was bombed, and a plane flew very low right over his house. Dieter was just a boy at the time. He was struck by the pilot's gaze and the flying machine itself. Since then, he was obsessed with the idea of getting behind the wheel, and the United States gave him that opportunity. Dieter received U.S. citizenship and joined the Navy. Together with other pilots, he was waiting for a combat mission on an aircraft carrier. They were assigned a secret mission. They must fly over Vietnam and bomb specified targets. The pilots take this mission lightly. They assume that they're going to take an easy stroll over a backward Asian country, and everyone will return from it tanned and rested. As they watch an educational video on how to survive in a jungle environment, laughter and jokes come from everywhere.
Chew it, boy! Chew it!
Finally, the pilots get the necessary uniforms and final instructions before flying out. For Dengler, it's his first combat mission. He doesn't get too excited and pretends he's seen a lot and is ready to fight. The planes take to the sky, drop their bombs, and get ready to get back. But Dieter's plane gets shot in the wing. He falls and catapults before hitting the ground. Dozens of enemy soldiers immediately rush toward him, and Dieter has to hide in the jungle. The soldiers run past him. Dengler hides his gun and walkie-talkie and runs on light-handed. He is confident that a rescue helicopter will be sent for him, and what matters now is to hold on until it arrives. He finds an abandoned cabin with some vegetables. Dieter takes them for himself. He sleeps in a specially constructed bag, and when he hears a helicopter approaching, he runs out into the open, but it is too late. The helicopter has flown by. Dieter climbs onto a rock in the open ground to make himself more visible. Only no one else comes after him. Instead, a squad of soldiers marches through the jungle in search of the American pilot. Dengler suffers from hunger and thirst. He finds a body of water and runs to it to drink. Yet at this point, he is caught by the Vietnamese soldiers. They take him to a nearby village and tie him to stakes driven into the ground. He lies like this for a while, and then they lift him up and take him to another village. On the way, he sees how the Vietnamese make a fire without matches and tries to memorize the process. The soldiers never stop taunting him. On the way, they hit him and shot in his direction with machine guns. At times, U.S. helicopters fly over, but they do not notice the American prisoner. Finally, Dieter was brought to the home of the provincial governor. Here, Dengler pretends that he does not know English. He is from Germany and therefore pretends to be German. Only the governor does not believe him. He has seen enough Americans to know that he is a Yankee. Dieter has to admit that he is from the States. Then the governor gives him a paper to sign. According to the document, Dengler condemns the aggression of the United States. However, he cannot sign it because he does not agree with the wording in the document. Then the governor returns Dieter to the soldiers, and they begin to torture him. They tie him to an ox and drag him through the whole village, hang him upside down, then put him tied up in a well with water and drown him. Dengler realizes that he has little choice. He will either go mad or die of torture. When he was already desperate, he was taken to a prisoner of war camp. Several people were already there. They had been sitting in this hut for more than 2 years. They all talk in whispers and look as if they are not being fed at all. Among the prisoners, there is a strange-looking fellow named Eugene. He firmly believes that if not today, then tomorrow they will be released and sent home. Dwayne Martin does not share his optimism. He understands that they are all stuck here for a long time and probably will not get out alive.
I'm too tired.
To make it easier for Dieter to survive in this place, Dwayne advises him to keep as quiet and inconspicuous as possible. However, Dengler does not intend to spend the rest of his life in captivity. He is going to escape from there. Dwayne warns him that the jungle is even worse than this camp. Here at least, they are fed and given water, but there you can die of thirst, hunger, or a bite from a poisonous insect or snake. At the same time, he can be found quickly because human traces remain on dry land for a long time, and the rainy season, which could hide a runaway's traces, will start not earlier than 6 months. Dieter does not lose hope. He plans to flee at night, except that at night, the prisoners are handcuffed, and their feet are placed in special pads. Finding himself in this position, Dieter realizes that he needs a nail. With it, he would be able to remove the handcuffs, but all the structures in the camp are made without a single nail. The next day, Dieter sees a single nail hammered into a pillar. He has to do some tricks to get it for himself. He asks the other prisoners to distract the guards while he pulls the nail out unnoticed. Then he flattens it, and when night falls, he uses it to remove the handcuffs. When American planes flew over the camp, the guards figured it was the prisoners who had called the Air Force. They started yelling at them and even shot Dwayne. After this incident, Eugene changed his mind about Dieter's escape. He is sure that if Dengler escapes, the guards will kill everyone who stays. Dieter calls everyone along, but Eugene continues to believe that sooner or later they will be released. He promises that when Dieter is about to run away, he will scream and summon the guards to capture him. Eugene is willing to sacrifice Dieter to survive. One day, the military arrives at the camp for an inspection. Girls are among them. They go through the prisoner's personal belongings and find a piece of glass in the pocket of one of them. Dieter explains that he needs it to shave. When he touches the girl's hand, she smiles fondly at him. After this incident, Dieter cannot forget her smile for a long time. One of the guards was fiddling with a machine gun when the prisoners were in the yard, and it fell to the ground and started shooting. No one was wounded, but Dieter collected the bullet casings, flattened them, and made miniature knives out of them. He handed out the knives on his birthday when the other prisoners congratulated him. Dieter continues to prepare for his escape. He leaves some of the rice they are given for lunch, dries it out, and hides it in a special container. He advises the others to do the same. When they escape, they will have something to eat for the first time. At the table, when they are most hungry, the prisoners think of what they would fill their refrigerator with if they were free. The fact is that they are given less and less food, and hunger is more and more frequent.
Go away, there's no food today.
Dieter discovers that the guards leave their weapons at the hut when they go out to eat. With the help of a miniature mirror, he learned how many people usually sit inside, and where the machine guns and rifles are stored. Dengler wants to grab the guns and escape while the guards eat lunch. When one of the guards notices them plotting the layout of the huts, Dengler pretends like it's some kind of chess game. At night, he frees himself from the handcuffs again, cuts the ropes holding the floor bars together, and gets out to make a passageway behind the fence. During the day, he shows the place to Dwayne, who calms Dieter down by telling him that the passage he has made is invisible to anyone else. Having finished his preparations, Dengler announces that he is going to escape on the 4th of July. The other prisoners will go with him. One day they are given worms instead of rice for lunch. But Dengler is not upset, for these maggots contain protein. He happily eats them while the others refuse to eat. Eugene, on the other hand, is going to eat their supply of rice, which they have prepared for their escape. He and Dieter quarrel over this, and Dengler then has to apologize to Eugene.
I'm sorry. Okay.
One of the prisoners understands a little bit of Vietnamese. He hears the guards agree to take the prisoners outside the perimeter and kill them, presenting the whole thing as an escape attempt. They don't want to give them any more food, especially since the nearest village has already run out of provisions. Upon learning this, Dengler decides to take action. The escape is scheduled for the next day. When the guards had left for lunch, Dieter encouraged the prisoners to go around their hut from both sides, take their weapons, and disarm the guards. They got outside the perimeter. Dieter went with Dwayne, and Eugene took the others. When Dieter was at the cabin, Eugene and his crew disappeared somewhere. He and Dwayne had to act alone. The guards spotted them, had to open fire and shoot a few people. The rest got away. After getting far enough away from the camp, Dieter and Dwayne meet Eugene and the others. They chickened out and did not go to the guard hut. Moreover, they only got shoes for themselves, and Dwayne and Dieter have to go barefoot. Having finally fallen out with Eugene, Dengler and Dwayne go their separate ways.
Where am I gonna go?
The rainy season has begun. It has washed away the tracks and provided enough fresh and clean water to quench their thirst. Dieter and Dwayne wandered for a long time through the jungle, reached the river, and made a raft to float downstream. But they ran into a waterfall and had to make their way ashore. They discarded their useless weapons without ammunition and circled the woods for a long time until they came to some abandoned houses in which Dieter recognized their old camp. Dieter had built a fire to make sure they were seen from the air, and they were indeed seen by someone who opened fire on them. Losing hope, they went out to the Vietnamese village to ask for help, but people there killed Dwayne and tried to finish Dieter off. He wandered through the woods for a long time, finishing leftovers for the Vietnamese military and catching snakes. One day he was spotted by a reconnaissance plane. A helicopter flew in, and the U.S. military took Dieter away. Government agents came to the hospital to interrogate him. It was important for them to know the enemy's position in Vietnam and other details. Dieter, however, could not tell them much. To get his friend out of the hospital, his shipmates from the aircraft carrier came to see him. They pretended it was Dieter's birthday, stealthily put him in a cart, and took him away in a helicopter. On the deck of the aircraft carrier, the entire crew and the ship's command were waiting for Dieter. They greeted him like a hero. After his release, Dieter Dengler retired and became a civilian pilot. He survived 4 more plane crashes. That's all for today. Subscribe to the channel and click the like button if you want more videos like this. And that's where the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to watch more movie recaps videos like this.